Okay, guys, today we're going to cover the third portion of Chapter 9, Principles of Hair Design. So we're going to cover hairstyle and face shapes for Objective 7, profiles and proportions for Objective 8, and special considerations such as sideburns for Objective number 9. So when it comes to hairstyles and facial shapes, one of the biggest challenges as a stylist is speaking to your client about styles that will accentuate their face shape. Not every look a client wants will work for their face shape. And so what a face shape is determined by the position and prominence of a person's facial bones, right? So we need to consider um, the prominence of the forehead, maybe their nose, the closeness or wide set, the set of their eyes, the size of their ears, the structure of their jawline, chin line, maybe even the size of their lips. Okay, so when you're consulting with your clients, you want to, for one, you want to make sure that you are getting a good look at their face from all angles. So pulling their hair back with a towel or headband so that you can observe the size of all of their size and prominence of all of their bones. And so as a rule of thumb, the text tells us to break the face down into three zones. So as you can see here on the slideshow, the first zone that we need to break the face down into is from forehead to eyebrows. So that's going to basically help you to determine the prominence of their forehead. You can also determine whether or not their forehead is going to be receding or if it's more prominent. The second zone is going to break the face down from the eyebrows to the end of the nose. So when you're observing that second zone, you're going to be observing the eyes. How far or close are they set? You're going to also be observing the nose. How prominent is the nose or how narrow is the nose? In that middle zone, you're also going to be able to or should look at their ears. Are their ears prominent? Are they poked out or closer to their head shape? And then the last zone is determined from the end of the nose to the bottom of the chin. That in that zone, you're going to be observing the prominence of their jawline, lips, chin line. Okay, so those are the three zones that we break the face down into. So next up, we do have to, once we are observing our client's face, we are going to determine their face shape. So these are the 7 common face shapes. Okay, I do recommend that you pause the video here if you're taking notes so that you can understand and take time to jot down some key facts about the 7 face shapes. All right, so the 7 common face shapes we're going to break down on the subsequent slides going forward. But as you can see here, you have oval, you have round, square, triangle, you have oblong, you have diamond, and you have a heart face shape. I do encourage you guys to look at the red arrows so that you can see how all of the face shapes are slightly different. Okay, our oval face shapes, they have their forehead is slightly wider than the chin. Just as a rule of thumb, and just so that you know, oval is the ideal face shape, so they can basically handle any kind of style. Then you have your round face shapes. They are wider at the center, as you can see that red arrow. Okay, they're wider at the center. They also have a round hairline. A lot of times people forget to consider the person's hairline when you're trying to determine a person's face shape. So round faces, round hairline, round chin. Your square people, they're going to be wider at the temples, narrow in the middle third of their face, and then they're going to have a squared jaw, okay, more harder jawline. You have your triangle clients. They're going to have a narrow forehead, wider at the jaw and chin line, okay. Oblong, your oblong, they have just a long face in general. Narrow face with hollow cheeks, so they're not going to have prominent cheekbones. Their face is just going to make your eyes travel up and down. Okay. Then we have diamond and heart. Really old school, we say you have a regular triangle face or an inverted triangle face, but diamond and heart is what the new text calls them. So your diamond face shapes, they're going to have they're going to have a narrow forehead. They're going to have width at the cheeks and basically a narrow chin line. So everything else is going to be wider, and then they're going to be very narrow at the chin. And then your heart shaped face, they're going to have a wider forehead and narrow chin line. So I'm going to go to the next slide, and we're going to just break down all these face shapes. And we're going to talk about the facial contour, meaning the characteristics of that face again, and then the styling options for each. Okay, so we have the oval face shape, okay? The contour and proportions of the oval face shape forms the basis for evaluating all other facial types. So as a rule of thumb, what you're trying to do is always recreate an oval shape no matter the other shapes that a person may have. So you want to do things to your hairstyles and your haircuts to try to transform or morph that of the illusion that your client does have an oval face if they don't have one. For your oval face contour, I definitely would write down that the oval face is about 1.5 times longer than it is wide apart, as opposed to being wide across the brow. So it is 1.5 times longer than its width across the brow. The forehead is slightly wider than the chin. It has no areas that visibly dominate the others. So basically the oval face shape, everything is in balance. A person with an oval face can wear any hairstyle unless there are other considerations. The other considerations that we may be talking about, do they wear eyeglasses, okay? We may have to consider their nose shape, okay? Also their side profile. So if a person does have an oval face shape, then you need to go to the other things, those special considerations. As far as styling options for your oval clients, I would just notate that face shape works best for any styles. The only time that we need to consider differences is if the person wears glasses or has something else like a convex or concave profile. Okay, next up we have is the round face shape. So as you can see, a little bit different, a little bit shorter than the oval, a little bit wider. So round face shapes are short and wide. Round face shapes are short and wide. As far as their facial contour, they're going to have a round hairline. So as you look at that person's hairline, they're going to have a more a curvature. It's going to be rounder there. They're also going to have a round chin line and a wider face or a wide face. Styling options for your round clients. For your clients who want to give off the illusion of a slimmer face, we're going to add a hairstyle with either height at the top, because if we give them a style that has height at the top, it's going to give the illusion of length in their face. So maybe they need something that's upswept or on top of their head to give the illusion of length. Okay. Height or volume, you can call that height or volume on top. Okay. We can also, for your round clients, since their face is already round, you want to give them closeness on the side. So they don't need a lot of volume. They don't need curls around the middle of their face. They need closeness on the sides to create that illusion of length. So basically, we want to create the illusion that we are elongating our round client. So as you can see here on the picture on the right, there's no volume in her middle third. The hair is close. What they did was they did give her at the top, they did give her some volume or some height to create that illusion of length. So that's what you need to do for your round client. Okay, so next up we have the square facial type. So flatter square facial types by including the following considerations to your hair design. So in terms of the facial contour, they are wider at the temples. They are narrow at the middle third of their face, and they have a squared off jaw. They're square at the jaw. So for clients who desire to round out square features. You want to soften the hair around the temples and the jaw by bringing the shape or silhouette close to the head form. You also want to create volume in the area between the temples and the jaw by adding width around the ear. So as you can see on our picture to the right, she has, they added some softness, some hair around her temple area, maybe a little bit of side swept bang. You can also probably even add some curls here to soften up those hard lines uh, at the left and right top corner. In the middle of the face, they didn't go too wider, but they did create some curls. Remember, curls always give you softness. Um, Same thing around the jawline or the chin line. They gave her a little bit of volume, basically some curls or some softness there, so that that square doesn't look so hard. Okay, so next we have a triangle face. All right, what's going on with her? So, our triangle face types. The text tells us balance and contour triangle face shapes with the following tips. So, for their facial contour, when we're looking at our clients and identifying a triangle face shape, they're going to have a narrow forehead, wide jaw, and chin line. Okay, so, styling options. As you can look at the person on the right, to create the illusion of forehead width, so creating the illusion that her forehead is wider. If desired, you can create a hairstyle with volume at the temples. So give them volume at the temples, maybe some bangs and some curls at the temple, or you may have to tease a back comb just to give some volume at the temple. It also says give her some height on top, maybe a little bit of height on top. And then you can disguise the forehead's narrowness with a soft bang or fringe. So give them a soft bang or fringe. Give them a little bit of volume at the top. And it looks like, since they're already wide at the bottom, right? Bottom third of the face and that jaw area, do we need more volume there? No. They kept it close. So keep it close to their face in that bottom third. All right, our next face shape is oblong. So our oblong face shapes, their facial contour is long. They have a narrow face with hollow cheeks, so they're not going to have prominent cheekbones. As far as the styling options, it says if the client desires a shorter and wider face shape, keep the hair fairly close to the top of the head. Add volume on the sides to create the illusion of width. Hair should not be too long, as this will continue to elongate the oblong face shape for that client. So it says chin length styles are the most flattering for this face shape. So basically, do not give them long 30-inch bust down middle part. It's going to make their face look longer. The longest that their hair needs to go is probably at about chin length, because they are already going to be giving you some vertical lines, okay? And then for them, you just want to keep their style close to their face. They don't need a lot of volume, and since they are long, that's giving like a rectangle. So rectangle is almost like square. Give them some curls, give them some waves, give them some softness to offset those square lines and that length that their face is giving. Okay, our next face shape is the diamond face shape. All right, so for their facial contour, they have a narrow forehead, extreme width through the cheekbones, and a narrow chin. So they're going to probably have wide cheekbones, maybe even have prominent cheekbones. The chin's going to be narrow. So if the client wishes to reduce the width across their cheekbone area, maybe they don't like that width in that middle area of their face, you can increase the fullness across the jawline and forehead while keeping the hair close to the head and the cheekbone area. It also says to avoid hairstyles that lift away from the cheeks or move back from the hairline on the sides near the ear area. So basically, if they don't want to accentuate the wideness in their cheeks, don't give them a pullback style. You want to keep their hair close to their cheeks or in their ear area. You don't want to have a lot of volume there. You can create volume beneath the chin, so below the chin line. As you can see, she does have a little bit of a wider form here, more curls there. And then also, since the forehead is a little bit wider than the oval face shape, then we can kind of cut that in half by giving her maybe a side swept fringe. That will look good for someone that has a diamond face shape if they don't want to accentuate the wideness of the cheeks. And then our last face shape is the heart-shaped facial type. Their facial contour, they have a wide forehead and a narrow chin line. So to help balance this face shape, to give it more of the illusion of having an oval face shape, it says to style the hair close to the head with no volume. Close to the head with no volume. So it says a long or piecey bang or fringe is recommended. So give them a long bang, give them a little chopped up bang, give them some bang with some interest. And then it says gradually increase the silhouette's width as you style the middle third of the shape in the cheek area. So in the cheek or ear area, then maybe you can put some curls or create some volume there. It says keep the silhouette at its widest at the jaw and neck area. So, as you can see here, they are starting to give the illusion of width around the middle third, and they're increasing that width or increasing that volume on the bottom third. And they too gave her a side swept bang. But since her head is already wide across the first half, she doesn't really need anything pulled back. You could probably even do a full front bang too. You can do a full like Chinese bang or maybe a side swept bang that will mask the wideness of the forehead. All right, so we have our next objective. Objective 8, describe how profiles and proportions contribute to hairstyles. So design should look great from all angles. Every part should complement the client's unique physicality. The style should never be too big or too small in comparison to the client's total body proportion. It should be flattering to the client's overall features. So our first profile that we're going to, let's talk about what a profile is. A profile is the outline of the face, head, or figure seen in a side view. And there are 3 basic profiles. The first one that we're going to break down is a straight profile. So again, your profile is basically looking at your client in a side view. Okay, and we're going to be looking for whether that side view is giving us a straight, concave, or convex profile. So with our straight profiles, a straight profile is neither convex, meaning curving outward, nor concave, which means to curve inward. Although even a straight profile has a very slight curvature, generally all hairstyles flatter the straight profile. So the head is round. The profile is going to have a slight curve, but it's a normal degree of curvature. Okay. And then with a straight profile, it's almost like the forehead, the middle third, and the chin, they all line up together in one line. I'm going to go to the next profile, which is our convex profile. So you can see here how this is a little bit different than the straight, okay? So for your convex profile, they have a receding forehead and chin that can be complemented with an arrangement of curls or bangs over the forehead. It also says to keep the style close to the head at the nape and move hair forward toward the chin area. So basically, don't give them anything upswept for their bang or their forehead area. They need something that's going to mask that. So they probably need some sort of bang. And again, that's our convex profile. So they have a receding forehead and chin. Then we have a concave profile. The concave profile has a prominent forehead and chin with other features that recede inward. So meaning the middle third of the face receives inward. This particular profile can be complemented by softly styling the hair at the nape with an upward movement. Do not build the hair onto the forehead. Don't give them a heavy bang. Don't give them lots of volume at the top, because all it's going to do is make their top third or their top half look even larger. Then we have facial proportions. So understanding facial features and proportions will make it easier to analyze each client's face. You can then apply the design principles you have learned to complement facial shapes. Dividing the face into 3 sections is one way to do this analysis. So we've talked about breaking the face down into top third, middle third, lower third of the face. So we're going to now break down what goes on in these different areas of the face. So the top third of the face, we're going to be trying to determine whether a client has a wide forehead or a narrow forehead. If they have a wide forehead, we want to make sure that we know to direct the hair forward over the sides of the forehead. If they have a narrow forehead, you want to direct the hair away from the face at the forehead. Maybe even using lighter highlights if you're going to give them color. Can be used at the temples to create the illusion of width for your people that have a narrow forehead. Okay. Other considerations in the top third of the face. They may have a receding forehead, okay, or a large forehead. For a receding forehead, the client on the left, if the client desires, you can direct the bangs over the forehead with an outwardly directed volume. To me, that's looking like a side swept bang, and also bringing the client's hair towards the face or where it hugs the face, in front of the ears. Bring the hair in front of the ears. They have a large forehead. Again, you can always use bangs with little to no volume. If they have a large forehead, give them bangs, but don't make the bangs super fluffy or super voluminous. Then they may have in the top, or those are all the considerations for the top third. Next, we have the middle third of the face. Okay, in the middle third, we're going to be observing things like the eyes, and the nose. So, does your client have close set eyes or wide set eyes? For close set eyes, clients with close set eyes usually have long, narrow faces. So you want to direct the hair back and away from the face of the temples. A side movement from a diagonal back part with some height is advisable. So maybe give them a side diagonal back part that gives them a little bit of volume at the top. And then it also says that slight hair lightening at the corners of the eyes will give them the illusion of width. So if you're going to give them hair color for hair color services, give them some highlights around the eye area. Okay, that's going to give the illusion that their eyes are further apart. Okay. They have close set eyes. If your clients, if they have wide set eyes, then we want to create the illusion that the eyes are closer in the middle. So they have wide set eyes. Clients with wide set eyes usually have a round or square face. And it says to add length to the face by making the eyes appear proportional, you can use a higher half bang. And then the hair should be slightly darker at the sides than the top. Because remember, with color, the lighter the color, it creates the illusion of volume. The darker the color recedes in, so it doesn't give the illusion of volume, it gives the illusion of closeness or depth. That makes sense? Okay, so clients with wide set eyes, give them maybe bang both ways, give them a little bit of volume. That way you can cover the outer corners of the face and make the eyes look like they are in proportion. Okay. Other characteristics or things that we may notice in the middle third. They may have a crooked nose or a wide flat nose. So if your client has a crooked nose, asymmetrical, off-center styles are going to be flattering for them. If you give them a symmetrical style where it's even on both sides, you're going to accentuate that crooked nose. So they need a symmetry. They need an asymmetrical type of style. For your clients, they have a wide, flat nose. We already have width here in the middle, so we don't need to give more width in the middle third. So they're going to do best with hair that's pulled away from the face. Also, it says that a center part will also help to give the illusion that the face is longer. So hair off the face and a center part will work best for the clients that have a wide, flat nose. If your client has a long, narrow nose, it says to stay away from styles that are tapered close to the head on the sides. So they need volume on the sides. It says middle parts are too much hair directed towards the face, accentuate any long and narrow features. So if they have a long, narrow nose, don't give them a middle part because it's going to make that nose travel. It's going to make it look longer. Okay, so instead, you want to give them a style where the hair moves away from the face and creates the illusion of wider facial features. For your clients to have a small nose, sometimes it may look like childlike. Okay, a small nose does give a childlike look. So when creating a hair design for an adult, design an age-appropriate hairstyle not associated with children, obviously. And then hair should be swept off the face, creating a line from the nose to the ear. So move the top hair off the forehead to give the illusion of nose length. So they don't need a bang. They probably don't need any braids or pigtails because their nose is already small, so it's going to make them look even more youthful. For your clients that have a prominent nose, it says to draw attention away from the nose. Bring the hair forward at the forehead and softness around the face. So maybe some kind of upswept do, more volume at the top, curls, waves at the top. From the middle third near the ears and the nape area, you can keep that hair close or swept back for your clients that have a prominent nose. All right, so next we have the lower third of the face. So here we're going to be observing the chin and the jaw area. So analyzing the lower third of the face involves determining the considerations due to the shape of the jaw and the chin. So for your round clients, round face, round jaw, style considerations, it says to use straight lines at the jawline. Okay, straight lines. So as you look at her, she has one single length haircut. She doesn't have any curls. That's going to give her the illusion of length. Okay. For your clients that have a square jaw, remember square jaws, they need to be softened. So for them, we can use curved lines for jawline. So give them some curls, bump the ends. Don't give them a straight, Chinese or sleek look. They need some kind of bend in that jaw area if they have a square jaw. If they have a long jaw, okay, you may find this on your people that have an oblong face. The hair should be full and fall below the jaw to direct the attention away. So you don't want to give them a haircut where the haircut meets that jawline. If they have a receding chin, meaning they're going to have like a small chin area, you want to direct the hair forward to the chin area so that you can mask that short receding area. Your clients may have a small chin. If they have a small chin, move the hair up and away from the face along the chin line. So basically, maybe pull the hair back into a bun. They may look cute with a little ponytail and maybe volume at the top, or maybe even a side swept bang. Then to the right, if your client has a larger chin, okay, larger chin area says the hair should be either longer or shorter than the chin line, and you just want to simply avoid drawing attention to that chin line. So those are all the considerations for um, the top, middle, and lower thirds of the face. So other portions of this objective covers the various hair partings and when it's best to use these hair partings. So hair partings can be the focal point of a hairstyle because the eye is drawn to a part. Be especially careful with the placement. When possible, use a natural parting for your clients. So always go with their natural parting. If they say, "Hey, I always wear my hair parted on the left," you go with it. Don't try to change it because they're not going to be comfortable or happy with the style, and it's just not going to flow with their natural falling position. It also says you may, however, create a part according to your client's head shape and facial features, or for a desired hairstyle. So I already talked about the bang area being also called the fringe area. Okay, and just know that the bang area is a triangular section. It starts at the apex and ends at the front two corners. So that is the proper way that you identify a person's bang by identifying the apex. And from the apex, a line needs to go to the front two corners, creating that triangular part. Okay. So for a triangular parting, the basic parting for your bang section, it does give a symmetrical balance of facial features. So if you do a triangular parting, like you can see the picture on the left, she has even fullness across the face, and that's because they started at the apex and came down to the left and right front corners, distributing the hair across the front of the face. You can also do a diagonal parting. So for your diagonal partings, you're going to use those when you want to give height to a round or square face and width to a long, thin face. Then we have, you can also do a curved part. So you can use a curved part to minimize a receding hairline or someone that has like a high forehead. When I say high forehead, that just means they have more length in that forehead area. It may not necessarily be prominent, like bulging or protruding. They just may have a lot of space in their forehead area. For center parts, you can use, those are best used for anyone with an oval face. But it can also give the illusion of an oval if you use a center part on someone that has a wide face or a round face. So center parts do look good for people that have a round face. Looks good on anyone that has an oval face or anyone that has a wide middle third. And then side parts. Side parting, you want to start right above the center of the eye. Center of the eye, back to the crown. And for your side parting, that's all it really just says is part the hair from the center of the eye, starting right above the eye and just in front of the crown area. Side parts are going to give you more volume or less volume on one side or the other. Then we have diagonal back and zigzag. So diagonal back, your diagonal back partings are going to create the illusion of width or height in a hairstyle, making them an excellent choice for voluminous hairstyles. So if anytime you want to create volume, you can do a diagonal back parting. And then zigzag partings, you may want to create interest in your styles by creating a zigzag part. It's just going to give you a dramatic effect. So if you're going to do that, just make sure that your client can handle wearing that style. If they're more modest and conservative, I would say no to the zigzag parting. But if they are bold and outgoing, then a zigzag part may work. All right, so we have objective. Oh, sorry, excuse me. We have other considerations, styling for people who wear glasses. And then we'll go on to a special consideration. So these two are basically the special considerations. So eyeglasses are like a fashion accessory for some people, but other people may need them. So when designing inappropriate hairstyles, it's important to know if your clients wear glasses. When clients put their glasses on, put on their glasses, you want to understand that the glasses always cover the temples. And sometimes they can push the hair out, making your style not conform to the face. So that's a consideration that you need to think about. So make sure the hairstyles you recommend work with the shape of their temples, temple tips, and eyelash frames. If you choose a short haircut, reconsider the hair's length around the ear. Leave it a little longer or cut it above or around the ear to fit their glasses. It also says for styling purposes, choose a style with enough hair covering the ear. Fine hair may pop out at the ear, or you may want to direct the hair away from the face so that the arms of the glasses are not an issue. So in general, in short, just make sure that you consider the width of your client's temples, how those glasses fit on their face, and then how close their hairstyle is going to be. And if you're going to go short, you want to make sure that when they put those glasses on, you either have cut their hair around the ears or the hair is closer to the face so that the arms of the glasses don't make the hair pop out. Okay. In terms of sideburns, so this really, some women may have sideburns. You may have you may create a short style, but most of the time, or the text is referring to sideburns for our men. A primary design element of short hair design. So anytime you're working with short hair, they're usually going to have sideburns. And let's take a look at the breakdown. Okay, it does give us some interesting facts about sideburns. Let me see if I need to highlight those. So it does give us a few guidelines for working with sideburns. So one of those things is sideburns will look short, medium, or long relative to the client's facial features and facial structures. So some people's sideburns are going to look shorter, some are going to look longer depending on the prominence of their bones. It also says that the natural hair growth will determine the natural hairline, density, and texture. These characteristics affect the amount of hair there is to work with and the design options you have to create a balanced and proportioned look. So we also need to figure out the texture and density of the sideburns because that's going to affect the style. And then it also says the client's ear size and placement determines if the sideburns are considered short, medium, or long relative to those features. All right, so a few guidelines for designing sideburns. So it says the length, shape, and density of the sideburns influence the haircut's final look and the client's facial features overall. So be aware of balance, color, and proportion when styling sideburns. As you can see on the slide here, first one, you can have midpoint sideburns. That means that sideburn is not coming down to the ear or below the ear. Okay. You may also have it where some sideburns are blended into a beard for those of you who are going to style men or be like a barber stylist. And then also sideburns can be blended into an unstructured beard, which I think those two are basically the same. Sideburns blending into a beard. You're obviously not going to have this with women, but for women, you may deal with the midpoint sideburns. Okay. Also, for a woman, I probably would not bring her sideburns down to her ears. I would keep, if she's wearing a short haircut, I would probably keep it either high ear or no longer than a mid ear because we don't want to give off like a masculine look for your ladies if they're wearing those short hairstyles. It also says that Sideburns should appear even in length on both sides. So if you're cutting sideburns, you want to make sure that you got them even on both sides. Anatomical features such as facial bones may be used as a general guide for trimming. So if you're trimming sideburns, you may want to look at the reference point of like your cheeks, or be in the top of the ear, middle of the ear, or lower part of the ear. And your sideburns should always complement the facial shape and hairstyle. So again, midpoint sideburns are considered a classic men's hair design. And it also says that sideburns that blend nicely into a beard offer style and flexibility. Unstructured sideburns can blend into an equally unstructured beard. So that's pretty much all of the special considerations. Okay. We're going to go on to our next slide, if I can get there. All right, so we have our summary and review. These are all of the objectives for Chapter 9. So we have an understanding of design lines, shapes, and form, and we understand how that helps us with choosing the right haircut and style for our clients. To provide a cut and style that a client can emulate at any time, it should work with their head shape, their face shape, and hair texture and type. Not only will the hairstyle look good, but the client will be able to recreate it. Okay, so we have our objectives. These are all of the objectives for Chapter 9. So we explain hair design principles and how they are the basis of every hairstyle design. 2, outline the components of a successful design philosophy. So that's what we talked about: inspiration, where we draw inspiration from to create styles for our clients. We identified the 5 elements of hair design. So there's line, texture, form, space, things like that. And then we have the elements. So that's harmony, that's proportion, that's balance, etc. We also talked about number 5, the different head shapes and reference points of the head. Number 6, explain the influence of hair type and texture on a design. 7, identify the 7 different facial shapes and design a beneficial hairstyle for each. How to design a beneficial hairstyle for each. Then we went into the profiles and proportions and outline principles of hair design as applied to sideburns. That is all of our Chapter 9. If you have questions, make sure that you leave a comment below or ask one of your instructors in person, and we'd be glad to assist you. We hope that you have a great day, and we hope this helps. Happy learning. Bye.